What's up, the world? It's your time about. I came to speak on once again Lakers, NBA, Nets, and Bucks, the best teams in the NBA. But yeah, it's like I'll say stuff all the time, and then I think when I speak, a lot of times I say this and I'll say it again. When you say something and people just always assume that it's happening at the time that you're saying it, or they don't understand the context, because it seems as if it's so accurate that you had to have be speaking about it after the fact, then you do a pretty good job of analyzing. And me, I find that happens to me more often than not. That I'll run into people who they just assume because I said something that I'm talking about something that happened recently. And like, no, I actually made that video like 8 months ago. So no, that's not even why I believe that. I believe that because I saw it. When you look at the Clippers, why I think the Paul George trade was a bad trade, go back and look at that video. Everything I said came to fruition. I said they have nobody. I said the problem is they have a bunch of one-way players. I said, and you can't bring in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and think it's gonna work. And it's like, well, why? It's like because they don't know how to pass. They can't pass, so they're not gonna make anybody around them better. And together, they don't really add much to the other. It's just the same old, same old. It's like, oh, we can ISO. Okay, well, is it better for me to get 35 from Kawhi and 15, or is it better for me to get 35 from Kawhi? Paul George got 29 or 28, but he missed, 15 shots that could have went to other people that would have probably made them, because they're not shooting as difficult shot as Paul George is shooting. You kind of cancel each other out, and that's the problem. And I kept saying, people, I said 3-point shot, I was like, it's not the same thing. I said making it in the regular season is not the same thing as making it in the postseason. Even though they had a really good shooting last night, they're playing better teams. So there's more pressure on you to make more of those shots and to be more consistently making those shots, because you're playing better teams. Paul George actually didn't play that bad of a game last night, but the ISO heaviness of their team made it extremely easy for them to for people to take advantage of them. So because they were so ISO heavy, they knew what to do. They would wait. They would help and recover. They'll swarm the ball carrier, then get back in the passing lane, and they kept doing that. And they kept and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard was stuck. They couldn't do anything, right? They couldn't read defenses. They can't do what LeBron James does. Anthony Davis did a good job. You know why? Because LeBron James was the one doing it. The reason why Dennis Schroeder got 20 points last night was because LeBron James. He kept telling them, okay, I'm going to come over here. He's not just going over there and standing in the corner. He's going over there and he's still directing everybody else. Same thing Chris Paul does. Even though they're not getting the ball, people don't understand how vital they are to the point scored. Kawhi Leonard doesn't do that. All he really does, he gave you 42 points, but he's giving you 42 points. That's all he's giving you. And in the 42 points, the team like, okay, we'll let him get 42 points. But nobody else ain't gonna score as much. And Paul George, he played a all right game last night. A good game, actually. Not all right, a good game. But like I said before, I'll take 100 from 4 different players than take 70 from 2. Morris ended up in foul trouble because he would go on Luka, and it was just retarded to me. Sorry. He would go on Luka, So he ended up in foul trouble really, and fouled out because, Kawhi them can't guard him because they're going to end up in foul trouble. Because the thing about Luka that makes him so hard to guard is that he's so big, right? And being that big and still that quick and skilled, because he's not like diagonal speed, he's not fast, but he has a wicked quick first step. Like Luka like James Harden. Both of them not athletic, but they will put a move on you and step over and get on top of you, and they're gonna use their body after that. Now you either gotta let them score or you gotta foul them. And too often, Luka was either going to the rim or being fouled. And the same thing with and people. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is one of the most underrated players in this league. Tim Hardaway Jr. was a number one option for the Knicks. I never understood why they traded him. Never got why they traded him. I don't even think they got anything for the people they traded him for. I think it was like Dennis. What's his guy? The guy that ended up washing out. He was real good, but kind of a head case. I can't remember his name. But the Knicks got him. I don't even think he's on the team anymore. So I think the Tim Hardaway trade made no sense to me. I don't know why the Knicks did that. They could have really used a guy like Tim Hardaway. But he's killing it for the Mavs. They don't have anybody who can stop him. Porzingis, nobody who can stop him. They have nobody. This is the problem I was trying to say that they had with they was going to run into with the Lakers. And people want to say, oh, Kawhi's not the defender. No, Kawhi is still the defender he was. He's a good defender. The difference of the problem is that Kawhi Leonard had Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili them behind him. So he knew all he had to do was just do his job. Now he's on the Clippers and he's realizing he got to be LeBron. He got to tell everybody else. He can't just be in the right position. He got to tell everybody else where to be at. You got to tell everybody else where to do this and when to do that. What you need to do this, you need to do that. He needs to use it. He needs to think, but that's not Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is a talker. He's not a person who's going to get out there and tell other people that they're doing something wrong or this, that, and third. He's just going to play his game. And for that man to go out there and score damn near 50 points, and y'all ain't even no point in the game came close to actually being even when they ran the Mavericks down, nobody thought they were going to win that game. Watching it is like the Mavericks are just a better team than they are. It's just so obvious when you watch it. They're just a better team than they are. And the stupid part about it is they've been a better team than they are all year. Like, I don't know why they put themselves in a position to play the Mavericks as if they didn't struggle with the Mavericks last year. So I don't even understand what Ty Lue was thinking when he bombed, when he sat those two people, when he could have got up and ended up playing. I guess he don't want to play the he was just screwed. I mean that the West is a beast, you know what I'm saying? I mean you got pick your poison there. You either going with the Trailblazers, the Lakers, or something to that effect. Either way, you screwed. No, you don't want to see either not one of those teams. You know what I'm saying? That was just the West is just a beast of a thing. The saddest part is the teams you wanted to most likely play were the teams that was the 1 and 2 seed. The Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. Everybody from like 5 down is the teams that you had to worry about. I mean, like I said, I didn't think the Lakers feared the Clippers. And so it's just they're in trouble. They are in a lot of trouble because of exactly what I said. They ain't got no distributor. They put Rondo in. He's good enough to distribute, but they don't trust him. So when he's in, he's not like they're talking like they getting the Lakers. You gotta have an ego drop, right? Rondo worked with LeBron because LeBron will give Rondo the ball and then move without the ball. Rondo would have worked well on most teams, good teams, the Warriors, the Nets. You know why? Because they have no problem getting rid of the ball and letting the player play. The problem with the Clippers is they're so ISO heavy that they basically render Rondo useless. He can't do anything because the players that command the most attention and need him don't use him. Every time they too busy trying to score points so it looks like it's not their fault. And at the same time, they're not allowing the other people to contribute enough. Unless, like I said, they'll pass it, but it got to be a surefire point. The person got to be wide open or cutting wide open to the basket. It's not a LeBron, you go here, we gonna run plays type of thing. It's not a LeBron, I got you. Like I said, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's not them. Kawhi would have been good with the Lakers. He decided to go to the Clippers, and he kind of screwed himself in that deal. The Nets, I mean, I said this before. They ended up lucky in the best possible scenario, playing the Celtics. Jaylen Brown is hurt, so they get the Celtics can slow them down defensively, but they can't score points. You know what I'm saying? They had a really nice shooting night, like last night. You know, the Nets did. So you know, I'm not surprised that you know, when Joe Harris makes 10 threes, you can't beat them. You know what I'm saying? And that's not gonna happen often. But it did happen. They ended up coming out doing good. But the Celtics would have won game one. They ain't got no offensive firepower. They know that they have to rely on Marcus Smart, and Kemba Walker's playing horrible right now because he's dealing. One of the things the Nets do have is a little bit of length. So they can throw some tall people at him, you know what I'm saying, and kind of throw off his shot. And Kemba Walker's struggling mightily with them. And I think Kemba Walker's a good player, but when you take Jaylen Brown out of the equation and you could just double him, you know what I'm saying, with Tatum out of the game, he's not as effective because he's a great player, you know what I'm saying. But if his shot is not falling, he can't. He's a smaller player. He's not like he's gonna be able to power himself in there. So they basically just backing off of him, you know what I'm saying, and then closing out on him with someone like a 7-footer like Kevin Durant or 6'8", 6'9". Yeah, hard. So he really can't get a shot off, and so the Celtics, I told you guys, I never saw the Celtics beating them, you know what I'm saying, without Jaylen Brown. It's just not, they just ain't got firepower. They can't score. So the Nets ended up in the best possible situation. The only thing I said I hated the most was that the 76ers were playing the Wizards, and because those are the two teams out there the most in the East are the Wizards. You know what I'm saying? Against the Nets, if I'm the Nets, because the Wizards, Russell Westbrook is a little freaking spark plug, and when you have a lazy defense like the Nets do, and the Wizards will eat them alive. They played the worst possible team they could play, which is the 76ers, because they have no big man. So the worst team even though, you know, they don't scrap because that's Russ, but the 76ers, they ain't got no big man. I mean, the Wizards don't have a big man. You're not gonna be able to compete with the 76ers. That's just dead. It's the same thing with what Miami finding out. Bam Adebayo is great in small ball. He's not great when he's going against a talented big man. He's just too small. So you can put Deadman in and see what he can do. But for the most part, he's not a competition for Giannis. So that's why I said before, you know, as a Miami Heat fan, you know what I'm saying, even though they're not my favorite team, they're one of my, you know, they're my favorite team. Meaning I root for them. Mostly I root for just watching players play. But when I talk about teams I root for, just because they're a team that I like, it's the Miami Heat. It's the only real team I like. So I would say they're my favorite team. Not that I'm a passionate Miami Heat fan, but I was so mad when they didn't get Aldridge, because that's what they needed. If they would have got Aldridge, they would have won the East. Without Aldridge, they can't compete with the bigs over in the East. They just can't. They just don't have the size. That's why I was saying I will be annoyed if Giannis and them lose to the Heat, because the Heat can get hot, right? They can get streaky hot. You saw that against the Lakers last year. They might not they may not be able to stop you, but they can outscore you because they can start bombing threes, and the Heat can easily turn around game 3 and game 4, and then the Nets can luck out and the Bucks end up getting beat by the Heat. They don't got to play them. Same thing with Russell Westbrook and the 76ers. Russell Westbrook can will people to wins, right? They barely lost by 7 points. Bradley Beal is a beast. They got a good team with Russell Westbrook doing doing the orchestrating, and Bradley Beal doing the sniper thing. But I would hate it if they lost, because if the Bucks lose and the 76ers lose, they bet the Nets gonna skate to the championship. Because their biggest problem is they don't have nobody who can stop bigs. And I even think that they'll luck out more if they end up with Embiid than they would if they ended up with Giannis. Because I think with Giannis, they're screwed. Because with Giannis, they can't beat. They're not gonna be able to beat. They're not gonna be able to beat. They're not gonna be able to slow him down. Giannis is too athletic. He's too athletic for Kevin Durant, and he's too big for Kevin Durant. And he's too fast. He's too athletic for the majority of bigs they're gonna the Nets have, and he's way too athletic too big for the majority of the smaller perimeter defenders they got. So they can't do anything with Giannis. Not only that, they can't do anything with Drew Holiday. They can't do anything with Middleton, and they can't do anything with Brook Lopez. Really can't do anything. They can't guard anybody on that team. But the Bucks are a good defensive team on top of being a good offensive team. So it kind of puts them in a position where they have to try to get better at both. That means they're gonna finally have to play both. 76 is the same thing. Good defensive team. Offensively, they have a lot of guys that the Nets can't stop. I just think the Bucks are a worse problem than the Nets are. Than the 76ers are. Now, against each other, I think the 76ers match up well against the Bucks. But against the Nets, I think the Bucks are a better matchup. So that's why I said next round. If the Nets win and the Bucks win, the Nets should play the Bucks next round, which is, I think that's where their season will end against the Bucks. But if they end up playing either way, if they end up playing the Heat, then the Nets will go, and you just have to see them against the 76ers, which I think will be a closer series than if they play the Bucks. So it just depends. And the Lakers, though, as I said before, LeBron is a different breed of cat. And I've said this 10 million times. It must suck to be a LeBron James hater. Like, I couldn't imagine the annoyance of being a person who roots against that guy. Because so often, you just rooting against the man off the fact that he's super good. And that's a terrible reason to hate somebody. Because they're always going to be good. Always be good. And because they're good, you hate them, which means that you're going to be hating them a lot. And it's going to be a terrible basketball experience. These guys are talented players, and LeBron is the best. This man was out for damn near a month and a half, 2 months. Took him a game to get back in stride, and he looks just like the same LeBron that was there before they left. And the problem is that he understands he's hurt and still a little leggy, so you don't see him like taking on everything by himself. That's one of the beauties of LeBron growing around playing with a team of people, rather than ever growing up trying to be the next Michael Jordan. LeBron James was good in invited comparisons to Michael Jordan. Big difference from a lot of these guys who go out there and shoot 100 shots, hoping to be the next Michael Jordan. LeBron James was just good, so his game never resembled Michael Jordan. Only thing that resembled Michael Jordan was his greatness. So that's the difference between LeBron James and other people. LeBron James plays this game really well. He plays the game up here. He plays the game in front of him. And you saw it last night. The Suns were like, man, ain't shit we can do. Because the minute he's going to find it, whether he has the ball or not, the man's still going to find the weakness. I saw a play last night where he came around and Schroeder was about to pass the ball. He's like, no, go. Like, I need you to go. And as soon as Schroeder got that ball, wide open layup. LeBron just sees stuff different. Like, he's like that team that now everybody's gonna say is OP. There's too many good players. Was the same team that was struggling to score 70 points with LeBron out of the lineup. But LeBron knows what he's doing. And because LeBron knows what he's doing, if you're a Lakers fan, you that's like I told y'all a couple weeks, I'm not worried. I was never worried, and the reason why I was never worried is because I watched LeBron James for too long. I have this supreme confidence in LeBron. The whole I realized that narrative and crazy Jordan fans have destroyed that man's legacy. Not his legacy, because his legacy is intact, but they've created false narratives in his legacy. But they don't ever stand up to scrutiny. When you analyze it, they never stand up. LeBron always ends up killing it. He scored. They needed first. Who hit the turnaround shot to kill the Suns' run? Oh, that was LeBron. Who hit the three? You know what I'm saying? That basically iced the game. That was LeBron. Anytime LeBron knows when a team needs what it needs. So you guys can hate on it all you want. But all right, y'all. This is your boy Tom Mal. Please comment. Let me know what y'all think. And subscribe. All right, y'all. Peace.